Hello, here we're going to be looking at week 21, pages 2 and potentially 3. So let's go to page 2 here. Now, on all these, we've been learning on this for the factors of A times C that add to give us B, right? So we're factoring here now where we have the form of this. So we're looking for numbers that multiply to give us A, numbers that multiply to give us C, that those in combination will add to give us B. All right, so let me show us what I mean by that, and we'll look at number 2 here to get going. All right, now remember, this is just a chart to help us stay organized. It's not anything that's like super official. It's just a way that I like to keep my factors and terms organized. Now, so I'm looking for factors of A. I'm looking for numbers that multiply together to give me a 5. I'm looking for factors of C, so a negative 24. And then we're looking for factors of B, which is the numbers that add up to give us that negative 7. All right, so here, numbers that multiply together to give me 5. The only combination is just 1 and 5. Right, but 24 has several factors. And so when you get good at these, you'll start to be able to pick out the ones you need without having to list them. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to go ahead and list them out here for us. All right, here's all the list of factors that give us 24. Now, with this, keep in mind, we're looking for a negative 24. So what that means is that I'm going to need one of these numbers to be negative, because a positive times a negative gives me a negative. Which one that we're going to need to use, though, is going to depend on the combination that we are looking for. Right? This 1 by one of these numbers and this 5 by one of these numbers. And when we put those together, they should add up to give us a negative 7. Right? So let's go ahead and start to kind of take a look, keeping in mind that all of these numbers, one of them has to be negative. We don't know which one yet. It's going to depend on our combination. So when I see this, it looks like that we're going to be able to find our combination by guessing and checking. So you'll be trying all sorts of different combinations here. But the one that's going to work for this particular case is going to be this. I'll take the 5, and I'm going to multiply it by a negative 3. And then I'm going to take the 1 and multiply it by the positive 8. And watch what happens. 5 times negative 3 added with the 1 times the 8. Look what happens with this specific combination. 5 times the negative 3 gives me a negative 15. 1 times the 8 gives me a positive 8. Negative 15 plus an 8 does take me to our negative 7. So that means I found our correct factors. Now here's how we get it set up. Right, so these terms tell us about our a, so I know I'm going to need a 1x and a 5x. Now, we know from seeing plenty of examples of where we're multiplying through on these, that anytime these two things need to multiply, they need to be in opposite parentheses. So the rule we talked about is if they're connected by an arrow, they need to be opposite of each other. It needs to be opposite of this positive 8. This 5 needs to be opposite of this negative 3. And that would be our answer right there. So this just takes a lot of practice. It's a lot of going through and just identifying the proper terms there. Right? Because all the ones were not combinations that were going to work. And you have to sort through those, and that's okay. So let's try one more here. We'll check one out here like number 9. So let's get our table set up. I'm looking for factors of A, which is a 5. Factors of b, which is a negative 45. And factors of, and then those need to add up to give me my b value, which is a 16. Right, let's start to identify our pieces here. Right, here's a couple sets. Now you may recognize, since we're looking for a negative 45 here, that we're going to have that scenario of either one of these will be negative here for us. Okay? And the list of factors is kind of short on this one, so that's going to save us some trouble of having to identify our right pairs. Now you might try a couple different combinations here before you find the right one. So say, for example, you tried this. Kind of 1 times a negative 45 and a 5 times a 1. That'd be fine and temple. Let's check a look and see what happens. We'd be looking and we say, okay, here's a negative 45. There's a positive 5. Do those numbers add up to give me a 16? They don't, so that's not the combination we want. So that's what it looks like to find the wrong combination. Here would be the right one. Sorry. 5 times a 5. And a 1 times a negative 9, and here's why. Five times 5 will give me a 25. Adding with a negative 9 does give me my positive 16. To get our answer set up, I need a 1x and a 5x. Now remember, the arrow tells us opposites, so the 5 needs to be opposite of the 5. So here's the 5. I need the 5 to be in the other parenthesis. Right, and this 1 needs to be opposite of the negative 9. Here's our 1x, so our negative 9 will go here. All right, so remember, it's going to take some practice to get used to finding the different combinations, but persevere and double check your answers by distributing at the end.